Hello everybody. Now welcome back to our class. This is session 6 of our class today. Today we are going to move back to our present simple, but here we are going to learn the interrogative form, means the question form. So as we have been learning in the previous one, present simple is used to talk about fact. Present simple is used to talk about habit, and present simple is also used to talk about general truths. Here, add the new form of using the present simple in question, and it can be in the negative one, but we are going to learn in the 7 sessions. But in this session you will be clear about how to use the interrogative form, so at the end of this session you will be able to use the question form of present simple in both your speaking or in your writing. So what is the form of the question form of present simple? So in order to make question in by using present simple, don't forget you use do or does, and then following by subject and then verb. The verb here, you can only use the base form of the verb. For example, here do, does plus subject plus verb. In here, do you go to work on weekend? And the answer can be yes or no. If you say yes, yes I do, or no, no I don't. Why do we have to make the abbreviation of no I don't? Can you say that no I do not? Just remember that in the formal written English, there are only 3 words in the short form. So, no, I don't. 1, 2, and 3. So there are only 3 words. You have to make the abbreviation 1. Right, this is the rule. Just remember. And does he swim? So the answer can be yes or no. Yes, he does, or no, he doesn't. Just remember, when you use the third person singular, as we have been mentioning, there must be an s adding to the main verb. But for the verb, for example, do, ending in "or", so the word that ending in "or", double s, ch, sh, x, and then must be added es, not only s, but add es to those verbs. And then when the verb ending in y, consonant plus y, you change the y to ies. And then if the verb ending in vowel plus y, there is no change, just only add an s to that verb. Here you have a look at the rule. Here are tables that you have to follow. Do plus subject plus base form. Do or does here, if the subject is a singular subject, you use does. But if the subject is first person, second person, or the third person plural, you use only do. Do you, for example, here are just only examples. You can say do I, do you, do I, do we, do they, and then following by a verb. Do you go to work? Do you come to school? Do you know the answer? That's it, by using the word do. So now you can ask a question. Now think about one verb in your mind and then start making a question. Can you think of one verb? Any verb, come on. Okay, find a verb. What is a verb? Verb is mean the word that's showing the action. Okay, now for example the word run. So if you want to make the question in present simple by using the verb run, you start with do and then plus one subject. Do you, do we, do they, do Dara and Pisai, do my parents, blah blah. Do you, for example, do you run fast? Yeah. For example, walk. Do you walk? You see? Do you walk to school every day? Listen. If you use the word listen in question, can you make? Start with the word do. Come on. Do they, do we, do you listen to me? That's it. But exception, and there is no exception, but something that is different. If you use the subject, the third person singular, here the third person singular as the subject, he, she, it, dara, a dog, a cat, a pizza. See, you start a question with does. Does he, or does she, or does it work? See, with the word does, you need an es. So, but when you put es, when you make the question by using does, so you just add an es to the first word. This is the first verb of the sentence. So the sentence starts with does. When you put does at the beginning of the sentence, it becomes the question. And the main verb here, work, there is no one as anymore. If you say that he works, yes, there is an as, but when you put does he work? So there is no an as anymore. You have to erase an as, but put an as after does here. Okay, so remember, not works. Does it work? That's it. Okay, now I'm looking at more examples or more rules to be clear. In here, I work, you like, we do, they have, they know, blah blah. But for he, she, it, you need an as here after the verb. He works, he likes, he has. For the word have, you change the word have to has when it is used with the third person singular. When you make the question, I, you, we, they, you use the pronoun, the auxiliary verb do. So do I, do you, do we, do they work? Do I work? Do I like? Do I do I have? Or do you? Do you work? Do you like? Do you do you have? That's it. But for the third person singular, he, she, it, you use does, the auxiliary verb does, in order to make question in the present simple. Okay, for example, does he work, does she work, or does it work? And here are the rules. You can read by yourself. Put does in front of the sentence and then change the verb here into the base form. You have to put does and then change the verb works to work as the base form only when you use does as the question. That's it about the third person singular. Also the first, second, or third person plural. There is no one as here. You always use base form for the main verb in the question. And that's it. Now have a look at more example. For example, you can say, do I drive a car? Do we drive a car? Do you or do they drive a car? That's it. That is correct. But you cannot use does with I, you, we, they. You cannot say does I, does we, does you, or does they. No, you cannot say like that. And for he, she, it, yes, you use the word does. This is because that is the third person singular. Does he drive a car? Does she drive a car? Or does it drive a car? So what is the problem for this one? Okay, what is the problem? Sorry. What is the problems with the last sentence in this slide? You see that? Does I, you, we, they drive a car? So the first one is that is the first person singular. There is no using with does. And another problem is that you put an as after the main verb. Although the subject is the third person singular, so that does he and then drives with an as. That is still wrong. When you use does in front of the sentence, you use does to make the question, there is no as after the main verb. Okay, now have a look more examples. Okay, now I give you some more examples by changing the sentence into the question form. For example, he knows. You see that? Knows. There is an as after the main verb. he knows the answer. And then when you change into the question, you need the auxiliary verb do or does. He does. Yeah. And then the question is, does he what? Does he know? There is no as anymore. So when you just put does to make the question, you omit an as after the main verb. Does he know the answer? That's it. Does he know the answer? Good. I usually eat a little. You see that? I usually eat little. And when you use the pronoun I, that is about the first person singular. Sorry, that is about the first person. I don't say plural or singular. If you use it with the first person, when the question is in the second person, they still do, because the first person and the second person use do. Do you usually eat little? Yes. Some of my friends play football. The word some of my friends refer to they. They are my friends. Some of my friends. Yeah, that's it. The plural subject here. When you use the plural subject, they as the subject, or some of my friends, a lot of friends, just remember, as the subject, you use do. Do some of my friends, do some of your friends play volleyball? Okay. Don't use does, that is the problems. And here, do you miss your classmate? And does she go? Not goes. Does she go? You see that? Does she go for work often? Again, the main objective of this example is to make you be able to use or to make the question form by using do and does in the present simple. Don't forget, when you make the question, use do and does at the beginning of the sentence, and then subject, and then plus main verb. Here the auxiliary verb is optional. When you put the auxiliary verb, don't forget to put after the subject or the main verb. Don't put somewhere else. It is, you can put somewhere else, but you can put here. That is a good position. You can say usually, usually, or usually I blah blah, but in the question you should put here, do you eat a little? Usually, or do you usually eat a little? But just remember here, because in our class, that is a very beginning class for learning grammar, so don't try to confuse yourself. Just remember step by step, because we are going to learn how to use the auxiliary verb in the next lesson. Okay, now more examples. You can see that he's a doctor. And so when you ask somebody, does he work as a doctor? And the answer must be yes. Yes, he does. When you use does he, and then the answer must be yes or no, he or she does or doesn't. That's it. Yes, he does, or no, he doesn't. Okay. Does he teach? Does he teach or does he teaches? Why don't you put es here? As we have learned, when you put does to make question, there is no more s or es after the main verb. So does he teach English? He's a doctor, so he doesn't teach English, is it? No, he doesn't. When you use does in the question, the answer must be usually does too. Do they watch TV together? When you use do, the answer must be do too. When you use does, the answer must be does too. Do you? And then yes, I do, or no, I don't. Do they? Yes, they do, or no, they don't. But when you use does she, must be yes, she does, or no, she doesn't. So when you use do in the question, the answer is do. And when you use does, the answer must be does. Do they go swimming? No, they don't. Yes, they do. No, they don't. Here. So you have to remember. Okay, now everyone, we are going to have a look at some more examples by changing the sentence into the question form. This you have to practice by yourself. Now I give you 2 examples here, and then the rest is for you. They work at Westfield, and then the question of the sentence is, do they work at Westfield? He runs fast, and the question is, do or does? Do he run fast or does he run fast? You see that the subject is he, so must be does, because he is the 3rd person singular. Does he run fast? There is no more s after the word runs. Okay, now practice. My phone becomes hot, and then we drive 5 hours a day. Okay, now I give you some clue. So when you say my phone becomes hot, and then does the phone blah blah, and then we drive 5 hours a day, and then do you say that because the subject is my phone, and then does the phone or does my phone, and then the next one is the subject is we, and then when you ask them, is it do you blah blah. Okay, what is the answer? Do the phone. Okay, you can see here the main verb. So when you put does and then plus subject, the rule that we have learned is that do does plus subject and then plus main verb. The main verb, there is no s on main verb, so that this is the main verb. So you just put does the phone and then plus the main verb here. Does the phone become hot? Yes, but remember there is no an s anymore after the main verb. And we drive 5 hours a day, and then when the question comes as do you and then plus the main verb, where's the main verb in the sentence? Drive. Do you drive 5 hours a day? That must be. Okay, now practice please. Okay, now I give you 2 minutes to do these exercises. Okay, now I check the time for you. Okay, 2 minutes, let's go. Okay, now move back to our lesson. The weather turns hot. So what is the question? Okay, sorry. The first one, she looks quiet. And then the question is must be does she? Because the subject is the 3rd person singular. The weather is the plural subject or the singular subject? The weather is uncountable noun. Just remember one thing: uncountable noun, uncountable subject is the singular subject. Again, uncountable subject is the singular subject. The singular subject is used with the verb. That verb need an s. My parents. I have 2 parents, so plural subject. And then when you make the question, you need do. and then I sleep late at night. As we have learned, I is the first person. Do I? The bus is one bus because there is no es after buses. Okay, the bus, and then verb did an is. So what is the answer for that? Okay, now check together whether we are right or wrong. Okay, here she looks quiet, and then does she look quiet, and then the weather turns hot. The answer is does the weather, no s yet, does the weather turn hot? My parents prefer tea, and then do, yeah, there is do my parents prefer tea, and then I sleep late at night, and then do I sleep late at night? The boss shouts out loud, and then does, because there is only one boss, does the boss shout out loud? Okay, now look at more examples. I give you the answer one for one. Now what you have to do is that take the correct answer and then cross out the wrong one. They come into pair. Do you work on weekend? And then does you work on weekend? Because do you must be do, no does. Okay, now more examples. You have 3 more examples, so you have to tick or cross the right or the wrong answer. So tick the correct answer and cross out the wrong answer. So you have 1 minute. Have a go. Okay, thank you very much. Now we are going to check the answer together. So are you ready? Have you go? Okay, here is the answer. Does she swim? Yes, that is right. Does she swim? That is wrong because you need does she, not do she. And then your dad is singular one. Does your dad have? Not has. The problem is that it should be have, not has. Does your dad have? Yeah. So the has come from the word have. The base form is have, not has. So just remember, the base form of has is have. Have is the correct one. And then what is the problem for this? Does she love ice cream? And then does he loves ice cream? So what is the problem? Oh, there is an s and no s here, as we have does and then subject and then plus base form. Which one is the base form? This one is the base form. So you don't need an s anymore after you have put does at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for today's teaching. Thank you. Goodbye. See you next session.